Hello and welcome to the Book Buzz Show. I am your host, Cheryl Brooks. And if you're new here, I want to welcome you. And if you are returning, welcome back. If you enjoy the upcoming show, please like, follow, subscribe, and share the broadcast or podcast um, so others can enjoy it as well. In addition to being a live broadcast, the Book Buzz Show is now also a podcast, as I just mentioned. So you can check us out at the Book Buzz Show with Cheryl, wherever you get your podcasts. Please make sure to follow our podcast so you can listen when you're out and about. And are you looking to promote your brand, business, product, or service? If you are, we have ad spots and sponsorship opportunities available here at the Book Buzz Show. Just visit our website at iaspirebooks2.com for more information. The book that we are discussing today actually is a series of books. Yeah, let me get that. The first book in the series is on the screen, Love on Replay, and this is the first book in the Berotte Family series by Monica Waters. Again, because there are several books we're going to go over. We're going to do an overview, and then we're just going to concentrate on a few of them. But this is the first book in the series. All right, and as I said, Monica Waters is my guest for this evening, and she is a romance author who is best known as the Queen of Countryhood Love Stories. As an Amazon best-selling author with multiple award nominations and 2021 winner of Literary Jewels Literary Awards for Best Romance Author, Monica has always had a passion for creating different worlds with words. Starting with poetry, writing has always been a constant in Monica's life. Her love for writing has only progressed. Song lyrics and poetry led to short stories. Then one day in her downtime, a short story became a full-length novel, which was self-published in 2014. The first countryhood love story, 8 Seconds to Love, published in 2019, led to a string of novels highlighting country living from rodeos to ranches, but with the characters maintaining the urban dialect that readers love from her. Monica was born and raised in Beaumont, Texas, but she now resides in Nome, Texas, where most of her country stories take place. Besides being a wife and mother, attaining a Bachelor of Science degree in sociology has only helped her become a better writer, understanding characters and their complex personalities. And without further ado, let me bring on tonight's guest, Monica Waters, and my co-host for tonight, Jennifer Copeland. Welcome, ladies. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Hello, everybody.
And we have LaShawn in the audience,
Hey, LaShawn.
Ola,
Hello, Ola.
Antoinette,
Hi, Antoinette.
and Tony Bonita.
Tony
Um,
Bonita.
we have Sharon
Hey, Sharon.
and Tiffany Jones. Welcome, welcome,
Hey,
everyone.
Tiffany.
And we have author Sharon Blunt also.
Hi, Sharon.
Welcome, everybody. All right. We have a lot to get into because we have a lot of books to discuss. Okay, now I was calling them Berotte all this time, so it's Berotte,
Be right.
Berotte, Berotte. And
So
how
you
did you
were
come up with
close.
how did you come up with that name?
My husband's great grandmother was a Be right.
Okay,
That was her maiden name.
so it's Berotte. Okay.
Hmm.
We also have a Facebook user out here. If you want your name and your face to show, just go to the description and just click on the link, and it'll give StreamYard permission to show your identity.
Hey, Facebook user.
And we have Lisa Wood. Hello, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Welcome, welcome, everyone. Okay, so I wanted to mention you put out you be putting these books out. Like they be like, but what I notice is the quality is always still there because I've seen sometimes where the quality kind of suffers when you can put them out pretty fast, but yours I
Right.
haven't noticed that. How
Thank
many
you.
books have you published so far?
89, I believe.
Oh my goodness, Monica, that is great.
I know. Thank you. Thank you.
That is good.
We have another
Congratulations.
one coming Friday.
Okay, so that'll be your 90th book.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Tell those who have not read the books what the Rock family series is about and who they are as a family.
Okay. The B Rides came along. Basically, Sheldon B. Rod is the patriarch. He has 5 children. He basically raised them alone. His wife died while in child labor with the baby, who happens to be the only girl. So he has 4 sons and a daughter. And basically, they are trying to get him out of his grief, I suppose, because it's like he has not been dating or, seeking companionship from any woman the whole time he was raising his kids. So you're looking at 20 years, 20 plus years that this man has been single, only concentrating on taking care of his family. And so that's how book one starts. They're trying to hook him up,
Right.
and they are successful. So they hook him up with a woman named Anissa, and she has 2 sons. So that's why you have all these male dominant books, because
Right,
it's
right.
more boys in the family than girls. But yeah, so
Um,
the premise is to the family is a loving family. They all went to HBCUs basically. They most of them pledged
right.
in fraternities and sororities. So it's love basically. The drama doesn't come until you have their friends and the in-laws getting books. That's when all the drama really comes.
Right, right,
But for the most part, they're a loving family. They have each other's back no matter what. And even if one of them is at fault, they still have each other's back.
right.
And that's what I really wanted to portray, a family that's really close knit and that's loving, and they'll tell each other, hey, you wrong, but they still gonna have each other's back.
And that's and I say this all the time. That's one of my favorite storylines is when it's built around a strong family or
Hmm.
strong friendships, and we get that
Yeah.
definitely in the books in this series and
Hmm.
some of your other books series that I've read. Is that something
Hmm.
intentional that you put in your books?
Yes and no. It it's kind of what I know, but I also know toxicity as well. So it's
Yeah,
like I just kind of try to spread the love. So I don't want to just completely write about toxic families. I want to show that there are loving families as well, and that I guess you could say burst through all the stereotypes of black families that others set out. So, yeah, that's the only purpose. I try to be diverse and hit every aspect, but I really enjoy writing loving families.
yeah, and I love the way you write them too. And like you said,
Thank
they
you.
stand for each other, and I love that.
Right.
Um, Now I was going to ask you too. There are the main characters of each book, and then there's various secondary and sub characters.
Right.
Um, Now, how do you keep them all straight, especially when the series is long like this one is? Do you have an
Child.
outline that you do?
I make notes. So like I knew for sure when I before I started writing book one that there would be at least 8 books. I
Okay,
knew that much because he has 5 kids and she has 2. So
right.
I knew for sure there would be 8 books. By book two, I knew there would be 9. So I kind of made notes on those particular characters, what they did for a living, what their personalities are like, this, that, and the other. And I kept them straight. But then when the friends started coming along, I had to keep making notes, but I don't outline the story at all. So it's like, okay, whatever happens, it's just gonna happen because I free write.
But you know what I love, when you do the character inspirations and you show your readers who you have in mind for each character. I love it, and
Oh,
every
thank you.
one that you've done so far, I'm like, oh my goodness, I love this character inspiration. And I actually was gonna reach out to you because when I was reading, whose book was it? I think it was Ali's book. I was because I couldn't remember who you had put out for him and for Riley. So I was like,
Mm,
I have to reach out to you so I can get them a
a
clear
lot of the
understanding.
women are actually women that I know, and the character for Riley was actually my cousin. So
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, I don't do men that I know because I gotta keep things straight for my
Right,
husband,
right,
so he don't think I'm. Oh yeah, you put him in a book, you
right,
mention him.
right.
No, we're not about to do that. So I usually do men I don't know.
Okay, and I can see how that could be a issue.
Yes, especially with what I write.
Yeah, and LaShawn, she said, yeah, you do get the books out, and she does,
Yeah.
LaShawn, and she keeps them quality up though. Antoinette, she said that's awesome. I think she's talking about the amount of books that you've written.
Oh, thank you, Antoinette.
Mhm. Um, excuse me.
Hmm.
I noticed too that in the last few books they seemed a little more. They seemed grittier. And I don't know if
They're
that's
more,
the word, but it did. It seemed a
yeah,
little grittier.
they're more urban.
Yeah, and although I loved it. Now there were some traumatic issues that some of the
Yes,
characters were dealing with, and although I kind of
especially.
sometimes stay away from stay away from those storylines, I still enjoyed the books, and I like too that you don't just dwell for the sake of
No,
it.
I
Yeah,
try not to because it can be heavy for me too. I mean, I'm not, a person that I could read almost anything except for horror. I can't do horror because I have
really, and I
nightmares.
love horror.
But child, I will be dreaming and won't get any sleep because I'm a visual person. So I'm
Mhm.
seeing all this in my head. So I can't do horror. But like for, traumatic events, murder, rape, those kind of things usually don't bother me. But I don't want to dwell on it either because
Right.
then it affects my personal life because I'm so heavy, and it's like, okay, get out my face. I don't feel like being bothered with you, just because I'm so into what's going on in the
Right.
book. It's like I feel their feelings. So
Right.
I can't dwell in those moments unless I'm just gonna be by myself for a few days.
Yeah, I can see that. And see, I'm the opposite because I can do horror, but
Yeah.
the other stuff is too real for me. I don't like,
Hmm.
because I know that it happens to people every day.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
see, that's what I write. I write more realistic things. I don't know. I can't really get into fantasy. I can read it, but as far as writing it, I don't know. I write about what I see.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Tiffany saying she agreed with you on the horror.
Yeah, girl. Mm-mm, I can't watch horror movies. I just can't. I can't do it.
Me either, Monica. Me and her, we can't get
Oh,
along. I'll go to bed dreaming about it and be done woke up
yes.
in sweat.
Yes, I'm the same way. If it's too suspenseful, I can handle some suspense, but if it's too suspenseful, yeah, that's gonna bother me too.
How you jumping in your seat and all that
Mm-hmm.
kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But okay, so we mentioned that you told us a little bit about what book one was with Sheldon and Anissa, and I love their story. I love the second chance, even though it wasn't a second chance with each other. I love that
Right.
they were getting a second chance at love. Uh,
Right.
and since we can't talk about all of the books, let's start with Ali's book. and that was a heavy book, but it was a lot of good, good points too, not light moments.
Hmm.
Um, Jennifer, in Ali's book, what was one of your favorite scenes that stood out for you?
When the daughter called him Prince Ali, I was
Oh, that
like,
was
yes,
cute. Oh yeah.
that was that was so cute. And she said,
Yeah,
yes, that every time she called him that, I was like, oh my God, that just touched
yeah,
my heart, tugged my heartstrings so much because I just felt like she knew Ali was a good person.
Mhm.
hmm. I
Yeah,
love that
I think
part
so
too.
too. Yeah, and
Ali needed that.
yes, and before we get too much into Ali, Monica, can you tell anyone who hasn't read his book yet about him as a character?
Yes. So Ali is mentioned, I think, from the very first book because he is best friends with Sharon Berotte, who is Sheldon's son, Sheldon's third son. So Ali is his best friend, but he's somewhat mysterious in all the books until you
Yes.
get to about book six. And even then, in book, no, not book six, book seven. And even then, in book seven, you're kind of like, what's he on? What is he up to? With the chick, the lady, the gremlin. So
Oh,
you're trying to
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so you're trying to figure out what is going on. Why is he getting involved, or whatever? And so he kind of makes his presence known in book seven and then again in book eight. And so the suspense is building. You're like, okay, I need to know more about
Right,
Ali. But he comes from the streets. He met Sharon in school. And basically, Shy had his back, when it came
right,
to sports because he couldn't play sports. So Shy, had his back and he appreciated that. So he had Shy's back, for everything. Kind of got him in a little trouble, or
right,
whatever, but as most kids tend to do. But they remained friends even though he started selling drugs and whatnot. Shy still held him close,
right.
and kind of helped guide him. So that's how he came along.
And I like that, even with Shy going in another, well, kind of in another direction with him being a lawyer, his profession, he was like,
I like how you
what they
said
call him,
kinda.
the thug lawyer or something like that. But
Yeah, yeah,
so he
yeah.
still had that in him, even though he went
Hmm.
that way. But he kept, like you said, he kept his friendship and his brotherhood with
Hmm.
Ali, which I loved, and I loved how Shy's family embraced him as well.
Yes, and he needed family because, as we know, what his family was like,
Right,
from
Right.
the
Oof.
book. I mean,
right.
he really didn't have a relationship with his dad. He was an only child, and his mama.
Yes, yeah,
Oh,
we're gonna get into her. Sharon is saying she loves Shy. Yeah, I do too. And
Everybody loves Shy.
yes. um now one of my favorites was I like that too, where she was calling him
Prince
Prince
Ali.
Ali. But one of the I would say one of the funny we on Ali, I'm thinking about Jericho. Um I would say probably hmm, when Riley showed him that the other side of her, that she could be, hood as well. And
When
yes.
she pretty much told him the business, like, get off my line. If I want, yeah, that was my part too. I love that part.
yeah, I love that. And I thought she was perfect for him
Yeah,
because
she
she was
was.
like, she was a safe space for him.
And she had experience with the way he lived because her ex, that
Right,
died, he was pretty much almost a replica of him as
right.
far as the lifestyle.
And I think I think it was mentioned that her father too, right, was in that life, wasn't it?
I think so. I don't remember.
Yeah, Jennifer, didn't they say the father too? I think they said the father,
I
but
think so
I
because
think so. Yeah, I
yeah,
think so.
yeah.
I
So I
think
think
so.
that even was even more because she was used to
Yeah.
the street life, having that type of relationship that
Hmm.
um but she also had the side of her where she was a mother and she had other stuff going
Right.
on.
Yeah,
So
she
she
was a professional,
right.
had a decent job and everything. So
Yeah. And
she was well rounded.
very much so. And I like too the where her and um Seneca.
Yeah, that came like usually like even though I free write, some of the story will come to me early on and I
Okay.
kind of know where I'm going. That just popped up.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, that just popped up as I was writing and I was just like, "Oh, okay. I like where this is going." Cuz he needed that closure.
He needed it, and talk about doing a change. He definitely
Mhm.
a good one definitely changed him. And really, all of them with
Mhm.
the good woman in their lives changed,
Right.
them for the better.
Right.
Um, but I loved their interaction as far as Seneca and Riley, and that she understood that what he was feeling didn't have anything to do with her.
Right. Right.
And I thought that was I love mature characters. I love when they act mature.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And I try to do that most of well, Alex and Axton had their
Right,
moments.
right.
Oh, yes, they did.
Alex was something else.
But for the most part, most of the characters in the series are mature. You know, they have their moments where they do immature things,
Right.
but for the most part, they're mature
Yeah, and that's what I love when grown people act grown, even if they
and
have
grown.
like if you
Yes.
they have their moments, but for the most part. Um,
Hmm.
and that's what I liked about Ali too in this book. Except with and I think I was in the I felt actually for what's her name? Talisa what's her name?
To
The
live.
kept calling
Talisha,
yes.
Talisha, the gremlin.
For her because I was like, oh my goodness, that is just so mean. Even when it was happening in DJ's book, I'm like, that is so cruel.
It was. Alicia even got involved in it, but he did. I don't know why, but he did.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Alex. Yeah.
yeah, Chad. Yeah, that was a whole mess. That was just their
They
family
definitely had
banter.
issues for real, but they
Yeah,
love
that was just look. That was their sibling banter.
yeah. But
But yeah,
yeah,
poor
I
little
thought
Talisha.
that was kind of with Talisa. I thought that was kind of
And
in a way, but
but what I didn't see Jericho doing that.
yeah,
So it was like Jericho's story didn't really come to me until I was writing Ali's.
okay,
So it was like, oh, he is not who we thought he was in book 6 when he was fooling around with Lexi.
right,
So it was just like, oh, he's dark.
very.
Okay. Like this is going to be the darkest story of the series. So, but I didn't expect Ali's to be as dark as it was, but I think Jericho's was darker than his.
What was your favorite scene to write in Ali's story?
So, listen, I can't pick out a favorite part, but I can tell you the scenes that I do like to write.
Okay,
I like to write when they're arguing because I mean that just comes easy for me because I like to argue with
right.
Brandon. So don't tell him that. Jen, don't tell Brandon I like to argue, but
I ain't
I
gonna
like
tell
to
him that.
argue. Look, and I like sex scenes. I love
And you
writing.
definitely know how to write those. I'm gonna tell
Yes,
you, man. I'm like
Lord.
the pages were well, I was on my tablet, but it was like smoking. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. So any of those moments, like the first scene where they were at the hotel, I love that scene when he, did the security work
Right,
and it popped off immediately.
sure did.
So
Mhm.
I liked that, and I liked when he met her at her house in the driveway.
Yes.
Yeah.
because she didn't want him to go in the house because of the baby, because of Aina.
That was a
So
sexy scene. I got to tell you, that was a sexy
yeah,
Yeah.
scene. Yeah.
so I love that because sis was sprung. He was sprung too. He just didn't want to admit it. So
Hey, you're right.
I
You
love
us
the
out
scene.
of some sex scenes.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you so much.
Yes. She
So, but
did.
yeah,
I was
those are
ready.
my favorite scenes to write. Sex scenes and argument scenes. I mean, like I usually be looking at my word count, seeing where I am. When I get to arguing, I've been on road 2,000 words like that. And same with the sex scenes. I'd be like, dang, this whole chapter was a sex scene.
Yeah, LaShawn,
So,
she said you taught her some things with those. Oh my goodness. I know what you mean, LaShawn. I know what you mean, but
sometimes I be teaching myself. Y'all
I
think
know
I be
that's
knowing all that? I be
right.
looking some of that up.
But you
Research.
know who I had a question about is what's his name? The one that was actually bothering, that was trying to come on to Riley at the hotel, and then he couldn't.
The old man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was trying to get it. I was trying to get a feel. Okay, what is really going on? What's his deal? And why is he
Some people are just nasty
creepy?
individuals, and you don't even have a reason why. They just nasty for no reason, and
Right.
he was one of them. Just a pervert,
Okay. Because I'm like
just.
trying to get a read on him. Like, what is really going on with
But
this?
see, I have to do that to y'all because to my readers, because if I'd have gave y'all too much about him, y'all would have wanted a book about him. And I
True.
wasn't trying to write
But
no book
maybe
about
not
that
because I didn't
man.
like him at
No,
all
no,
from the jump.
no.
I ain't like it.
Not after that scene you wrote in and Ali caught.
Oh
No,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was okay. That was a little too. When
that's
I'm like, oh my gosh, because it was in my head. It was I had visualized it, and then but
Ali let
that
him have
also
it, didn't
showed
he?
me who Ali was, and that he wasn't no joke either.
None, not a
not
joke. The only
at
person
all.
that kept him hesitant and had his soft spot was his mama.
Right,
It was like he just couldn't do what he felt like he needed to do
right,
regarding her because she was the only family he knew.
right,
Of course, besides the B rights, but I mean biological family.
right.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
and I understood it because you see with children who are abused or in whatever way from a parent, they still love that parent.
they long for that connection, and they think, okay, maybe this time, if I rescue her this time, maybe it'll
Right,
give me that love that I've been craving from her. She'll see
right.
how much I love her and maybe she'll reciprocate that. But no, in her case, it never happened.
She was
So,
the mother from hell for real. I wanted to jump through my tablet on her butt, but
I
and she had her own trauma.
right,
But as we know, you have to want to be better in order to be better. So
mhm,
there's nothing anybody else can do to help you if you don't want to be helped.
true,
And that's exactly where she was. Even after he found out her story and
right,
what had happened to her, she did not want to be better.
right. And I
So it's
tried to
really
feel for
nothing.
her, and I did in a way, but it's like you said, she wasn't trying to be better for herself or for her
Mhm.
child, so I couldn't
And
get
I
with.
usually try to redeem people. I try to make them better. But some people just aren't
Okay,
going to get better, and I had to learn that while
yeah.
I was writing because I was like, Ali, no, we can't do this to her. We got to make her better. And he was like, no, she ain't going to learn.
And unfortunately, that happens in real life where some people you just,
Right.
they just who they are and
They
they're not
just,
gonna
I
change.
mean, like, from a religious aspect of it, I look at it like, okay, if everybody is going to get redeemed, there wouldn't be a reason for hell.
True, true.
So if there's a hell, obviously some people are going to go there. They ain't going to ever get it together. And that's the way I had to look at it when writing her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Antoinette has a question. She's
Yes,
asking,
ma'am.
will Sheldon's brother ever reconnect with him?
I don't know. You know how y'all do me, because I'm supposed to be done with them, but I'm sure they're gonna pop back up just like the Hendersons did, because I was supposed to be done with them too. And now look where I'm at, deep in the throes of the second generation.
Yeah, because
So
Uh,
that's it.
I had wanted to ask you
Very,
too about Ali's father. I think his name was Troy.
mhm.
Because at first, when he reconnects with him, I kind of get a glimpse that he had changed and he was trying, but then the scene, other scene, like okay, what's really going on with this guy?
Okay, so I'm finna explain this to you. So you ever seen a man where a woman just got him so stupid till he just
Uh,
dumb for no reason?
yeah,
That was
mm,
Troy. On his own, he's fine. But when he reconnects with her,
right.
he's her, basically.
And that's a shame.
And
And that
it
makes me
is
mad, and especially when it comes to your son. Y'all don't care,
right.
that should have been
That's
number one.
that's your baby.
Yeah,
That's your baby. And you basically disowned him as your son and looked at him as your meal ticket.
right. What did you think about Troy's character, Jennifer?
when he was explaining, what happened, um,
You thought he was gonna be
what
redeemable
happened.
too?
Yeah, I thought he was gonna be redeemable. I was like, okay, I give him the benefit of the doubt. But
Right,
then
right.
afterwards, I was like, no, man,
Right.
you and Mama got to go and let Ali have his peace.
Yes, yes, yes. And that's
Yeah.
one of my other questions that I normally ask. What was a heartfelt moment for you in the book? And I know with me, it was that scene with the parents in the
Yes, when
driveway, the rocks.
in the driveway. Yep.
Yeah, and when Ali, his reaction,
Man.
man, I was
He
like,
was
I,
he was
I was
so broken.
booing, and it was just so heartfelt, and I
I
loved how,
cried when I wrote that scene. I
yeah,
literally, I cried just about with every book, but I cried when I wrote that particular scene. It was just because I feel what
that
my
was tough.
characters feel, and even though Ali tried to be hard,
Right.
basically the whole book, that was the moment that broke him.
Because that was his mother, and her and the stuff
and
that she
and
was.
not only all the stuff she was saying, but she was saying it in front of other people.
Oh yeah,
So it's like it really hits different when you don't even care
true,
enough to protect me from the embarrassment.
true.
So yeah, it's
Because I'm
that
sure
part
he's heard her say worse, but you're right because it was in the manner that it
in
happened.
front of
And
everybody.
yeah.
Yes.
What about you, Jennifer? What scene was heartfelt for you?
That was a heartfelt scene for me. And when Riley went to him it was like she was the only one that could stop him from
Yeah,
doing what he wanted to do to old mama in front of everybody, because she saw that he was being reckless with it.
Yeah, he was
So
gonna
that was
snap. His mom, it's like his mom just brought out the recklessness in him
hmm,
because
mm,
we know from previous books, Ali was the one that always had it together.
right,
Ali was always on his he was always the one that handled things and handled it in a way to where he wouldn't be found out. And you didn't know how he was finding out information and this, that, and the other. But in his book, his mom brought out his emotional side.
right.
And when emotions are involved, it causes you to be reckless.
True, and we got to see more into the his personal life in this book
Right.
than we had before. So we got
Right.
to see that what the kind of dysfunction he was dealing with, even though he was helping everybody else.
Right.
He was dealing with his own stuff. And LaShawn says she felt
Hmm.
heartbreaking embarrassment. Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but again, I love the family how they came and they stood with him. Even Isaiah was like, "Look, you know,
Listen,
his hood came out."
big bet.
Isaiah, Isaiah is my boo. You hear me? Out of
Yes,
all the B Right siblings, Isaiah has my heart. Okay.
yes,
Like readers will be talking about, oh, I love it. You a lie. Isaiah is mine.
yes.
That's mine.
Because
Y'all
he's
can
so
have
because
Shy.
he has that the both sides. He has the cuddly.
Yes, he can be sweet, understanding, but he can snatch you up if you need it.
Yes,
And I love that about him.
and he even shocked Ali when he came to his defense. And he was
Hmm.
like, "Who is this?"
Yes. Whenever that side of him would come out, everybody would be shocked. Because
Right.
I think he snatched up Chanel in either Dylan's book or Shy's book.
Oh
Chanel was the
yeah, sure
chick
Yeah.
did.
that was giving Dylan a hard time.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
And Ola is saying that she's ready to purchase the entire series. She said all new to her, but she
Oh, awesome. Thank
Oh, Lord.
you.
Ola, you will believe me, you will love each book. Every book gets better and better.
Thank you.
You'll love it. And let me see. Sharon is saying Ali's book had me clutching my pearls and walking away. Yeah,
Yeah,
it definitely was intense. That's for sure. Isaiah has everybody's back. Sure does.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Sure does. He's a
The
thug
third therapist. Yeah. Isaiah, he was the one that was pretty much in everybody's story. If you notice, Dylan kind of went quiet, and Alex had a few scenes, here and there, but Isaiah played a critical role in almost everyone's healing.
Right,
So, because he's the family counselor, but
right,
he's also the big brother, and
right,
he took on the responsibility of caring for everybody, like a second dad.
right.
So,
I definitely got that. And Lisa said her too. She's so she get interested in the book in the series too now.
thank you, Lisa. Thank you.
But I think Isaiah takes his cue from Sheldon because I love how
Exactly.
everybody goes to Sheldon and that
For
he does
advice, yeah. And I love the way that he and Anissa look at all of them as their children,
right.
and
Yes,
they all needed that,
yes,
all of them, especially a father, because the I don't think any of the sub characters besides Arrow, I don't think any of them had a father figure in their life.
right.
So Sheldon was that man for
For
them.
everybody. But
Hmm.
even Anissa, where his kids, for she they needed that mother figure.
Hmm.
And
Right.
she
And Alex clung to her immediately.
did, yeah. And
So
they
yeah, they
bonded.
needed it.
I love that too. Um, it's time. Did you pick out a excerpt that you wanted to?
Yes, I did.
All right, we about to get a little sample, everybody.
But listen, I didn't want to get a nasty sample. I I chose a sample, and I figured it would be people on here that has not
Right.
read. So I chose a sample from Love on Replay.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
Okay, here we go. I sat here on the outdoor second level patio, nursing on a margarita on the rocks, wishing that I wouldn't have talked about Dexter. Thinking or speaking of him could put a damper on any mood or situation. While I knew Sheldon was just trying to get to know me, I should have reserved that conversation for another time. I glanced over at him as he drank his scotch. The man was the epitome of the word zaddy. I was in total shock that he called as quickly as he did. Maybe he wasn't as standoffish as he seemed. He did seem just as nervous as I was, though. I was extremely nervous and didn't understand how I was so comfortable getting into the car of a man I just met and wasn't initially impressed with. Allowing him to come to my place and pick me up didn't even feel weird to me, and that alone was weird in itself. Glancing at him again, I noticed he was staring at the TV. It didn't really seem like he was watching it. I nervously slid my hand over his. This wasn't my scene. I didn't really like going out. When he glanced at me, I knew that somehow he knew what I was thinking. He got the bartender's attention and paid for our drinks. This ain't my scene either, he said. I just didn't know how comfortable you would be with me alone in one of our houses. Our sons are friends. I doubt that either of us could get away with much. He smiled slightly. Chad had the nerve to try to tell me how to behave on a date. I chuckled. DJ did the same when I called to let him know that I was going out. He thinks he's my parent now. Same with my five. He slowly shook his head, then threw his drink back. Whenever you're ready, so am I. I did the same to my margarita, but just as I was about to stand, these people had the nerve to play The One by CeeLo. That used to be my jam. That was the whole vibe for 2004 for me. When I remained seated and started vibing, putting my finger in the air because I was the one, I could see the look of amusement on Sheldon's face. I'm sorry, but this is my song. Before long, I'd forgotten anyone was there and stood from my seat to dance. When I looked up, there were a couple of women that had joined me. Apparently, the person in control of the music was happy that we were enjoying ourselves because he put on another jam by Anthony Hamilton and Lil Jon. When I saw Sheldon laugh, I knew that he was enjoying himself. The man didn't smile for nothing. Making my way to him, I pulled him from his seat and began dancing again. Surprisingly, he spun me around and wrapped his arms around my waist. We swayed to the beat of the music. Feeling him that close to me felt amazing. He didn't strike me as the type to really dance, but I supposed I was wrong. When I heard him sing along with Anthony Hamilton, All right, I'm ready, I was in shock. However, it seemed he was saying that directly to me. His embrace got a little tighter, and as we grooved, I couldn't help but to close my eyes. I inhaled his scent and relaxed in what I was feeling. This was foreign to me, and I was happy to feel again. Until now, it was like I'd been numb all these years to these types of feelings. I just felt good. As the song ended, I turned to him. Childish Gambino was next. I like Redbone, but it wasn't a song I needed to dance to. Sheldon felt differently. He pulled me back to him as he stared in my eyes. This was intense. I slid my hands up his chest to his shoulders, and when I looked back up at him, he gently kissed my lips. My body practically melted, threatening to leak through the cracks in the wooden floor to the first level. However, the shock of what he'd done caused him to pull away from me. I grabbed his hand to stop him. When he turned back to me, his face was hard. We can go. I quickly nodded and grabbed my purse, following behind him. I didn't understand what was so bad about what happened. My soul was light, and for the first time in 16 years, I wanted to be with a man. When we got downstairs and had left the place, I grabbed his hand again. Sheldon, wait. He stopped walking and turned to me. What's wrong? Did I do something wrong? He took a deep breath and slid his free hand down his face. Turning back toward the car, he resumed walking. When he got to the passenger side, he remained still. He didn't open the door, just stood there staring at it. His grief was making him feel guilty about what he was feeling between us. Before I could say anything, he turned back to me and pulled me close to him. I slid my arms around his waist and laid against him. It just felt like he needed comforting. We both seemed to be warring with our past, and maybe we were supposed to be here for one another. I'm sorry, Anissa. No apology needed. Letting go is hard. I know firsthand. I lifted my head to look at him, only to find him staring at me. He lowered his head slightly and kissed my forehead, then turned and opened the door for me. Getting inside, I felt like depression and guilt were looming over me. I couldn't have that. Once he dropped me home, I would have to meditate big time. I wasn't sure if I was strong enough for him to not suck me in and have me feeling like he did. When he got in the car, he grabbed my hand. I didn't mean to ruin the good time we were having. I was enjoying myself. I was too. That's it.
Yay, love it, love it. And I love that scene. I remember thinking that she had an impression just from the way he, was his
Hmm.
demeanor. She had an impression of him, but when he showed her that he knew the song and he could dance and all this kind
Yeah.
of stuff, she saw that he was actually a lot more
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
it.
because he was being a little rude at first.
Yeah, he was something else. And
He
like you
was
said, never smile.
hmm he was trying to resist. He felt he was still grieving after all
Yeah,
those years and
yeah,
felt like he was cheating on a woman that had been dead for 20 years,
right,
25 years.
right.
So, yeah, he had some things to overcome, but
And
obviously we know he did if we had 13 books after that.
right. Antoinette said those Sunday family dinner. Yeah, I love that too. Boy,
Oh my gosh. Yes,
after the father figure. Yeah,
absolutely.
yep. And Shalisa saying narrator your own book. Yeah,
Yeah.
Rachel.
Well, yeah, at least they would have the natural accent, huh?
LaShawn said the restaurant got quiet. You got to get them the name of the series so they can buy it too.
Yeah, well, people are leaving. That's why.
And Katina, hey Katina, she said she agreed with it. She agrees.
I started to do the voices, but yeah, I started to, drop it down real deep so she heard it like this.
Lisa is giving you a clap on your applause on your narration.
Thank you, thank you, thank you,
Great scene to read from. Definitely, yeah, that
thank
was a
you,
good thing.
thank you.
And don't pay nobody else to narrate.
Ah, thank you.
um, let me see the step shows. Oh, that I love.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes,
yes,
Chad
Yes.
is
yes.
Oh wait.
hilarious. And then, I think was it in this book, in Ali's book, where I think it was Ali's book,
Riley, she got
where the
up
niece, where
too.
his niece started, when he started barking, she started barking and
Yeah,
dancing. Oh, that was so
yes. Dylan was not happy about that.
yes, that was so cute. And then Riley, she got in the groove. She was like, "Okay, let me get up
Yeah,
and
let me
show them
get in this.
that I'm with it." But
Yeah. Yeah, I love the step shows, especially in Alex's book when
yes,
they did the nasty song
yes,
Yeah.
and then this had done turned about 5 shades of red.
yes.
Like I know they didn't step to that song. Like you couldn't pick something else.
Yeah, I love the step scenes too. And
Yeah.
time is flying. We have to talk a little bit about Jericho. Now,
Jericho was my
explain who
heartbeat.
Jericho is to
Okay,
everybody.
so you first meet Jericho in book 6 because Chad has a woman that's in love with him, basically, who happens to be Dylan's sister in law. She's in love with him, but he's playing. At least that's what it looks like to her. He has
Right,
some other issues going on, and she's been waiting in the wings for over a year, waiting to be with him. So, in the meantime, she doesn't want to establish a relationship with somebody else. She's just trying to scratch a little itch.
right,
Okay. So, Jericho happens to be one of those people. And then you end up finding out that Jericho was hired by her father, to watch her.
right.
But Jericho is also a really good friend of Ali because they grew up together in the early years in Florida when Ali was in Florida. So they known each other since they were like 5 years old. So when Jericho needed an escape, when he had to leave Florida, he found Ali again and ended up working for Ali. So that's how Jericho comes into play.
And I love that the childhood friendships are sustaining
Yeah.
with both Ali and Jericho, and Ali and Shy, and that
Hmm.
Jericho was able to reconnect with him
Yes.
when he needed to. And one of the scenes in Jericho's book, there were so many. The one
Ooh.
with his sister was definitely difficult to read. And the things, the dysfunction in the family. But one of the scenes that actually was kind of funny to me was the scene when Whitney's ex Vashan came through the back door, and and Ali was there, just so I can set it up for you all. Ali was there with Jericho and Jericho's mother and sister, and he had just reconnected with his lost love, Whitney, and they were at her home. And her ex, who she had, broken up with recently, they had lived together, and he never gave her the key back. So he comes in, and all of them are there, and he sees Jericho all up on, all on her basically, and he comes in and basically questions her about who is this, and when she tells him, he yells at her, and Ali comes in there and has he had
We
Jericho's
got a
back.
problem.
Yep, and Jericho, the guy Bashan tells him, I'm not intimidated by you. So Jericho ended up having
Good.
to step up.
Jericho say good. I don't want you to be intimidated. You won't see what's coming.
Right, right, right. But what was the funny part to me is he was so matter of fact with Whitney, like you don't have
Yeah.
to explain to him, what he don't matter, and he was like all this time, like he didn't threw this man across the room, and like he was just saying it like it was just a normal thing.
Jericho was a whole mess. It was like that type of behavior came natural
He
for
was
him.
so
And it was like Ali said, it's like, oh, he got the taste of blood in his no, it's like a doggone shark, like he tasted blood, so he in his killing mode right
right.
now. and,
Wait a
and
minute,
it's
Ali
like,
knew
wait,
something was like he's like he already knew.
and it's like this is not the same sweet guy from book 6 that wanted Lexi's baby to be his. This can't be the same guy.
Yes.
But obviously it was.
And her reaction was so the way you wrote that, though, her reaction was so she was kind of like turned on, but she also was like worried about Bashan, and then she was like kind of cautious too, like, is this really going on? What's going on?
Yeah, yeah.
Like she said before she could even think, he had grabbed the guy, grabbed him up.
To throw him across the room.
Right. And but the way he was so matter of fact about it, like
And
he was
he
like
was
he
just
was
so
telling her something like,
calm.
yeah.
Yeah, just so calm and nonchalant. Like you just didn't throw this man across the
Yes.
room. Like it was no big deal.
Right. And then when Ali took him to the back and she was watching it, he was like, don't worry about Ali. He might not be my size, but he can handle stuff. He don't throw hands like he used to, or something he said,
Yeah,
but
he just shoot people.
right, right. That scene had me rolling. I'm like, this guy is something else. Jennifer, what
Yeah,
was your what was your favorite scene in Jericho's book?
That was one of my favorite scenes, and the next one was when he made that bet with Whitney about about her being
getting
pregnant. If she
married, being
got pregnant,
pregnant.
then she had to marry him ASAP.
Yeah.
I was like, no, this man didn't.
Yeah, he like, yep. And he knew what he was talking about,
Yeah,
didn't he?
he sure did.
I love too when
Somebody.
Whitney told him too. I think she said something, but I'm not used to you people telling me what they gonna do, or something she said. Um, and then she quoted Mystical or somebody or Juvenile or something. I can't remember, but that was their interactions were so hilarious in such
Yeah,
a
they look, they would Trick Daddy and Trina.
right, right. But I love that you balanced it because the book was, it could be
It
heavy.
was very heavy. The premise of the book was heavy.
Right,
Just the fact that he was trying to go and rescue his sister and
right,
then found out he had to rescue his mom too,
right,
thinking she was dead. So the amount of guilt that he carried about his sister, felt like he could have done more, um, and that he should have been done more.
right,
So the whole premise of the book was heavy, and then Janetta came along with her issues,
right.
and so it just made it even heavier. Like, oh my god! And then you start seeing Seneca, and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that blew me for a loop because I didn't see that coming, and I
No,
was
I said she had many twists in this book,
yeah,
and
but
she
I
both
had
of
was like, y'all was so mad at me, but I'm like, Seneca told y'all, we told y'all who he was in book 5. His sister was calling him cynical,
yeah,
okay, which means evil. And just because he fell in love didn't mean all that disappeared.
because you're right, he
So
was street too. I mean, even though he had a loving mother, and a sister, he still had that.
yeah, he
Yeah,
he was on in the streets too, and it started off as him just trying to help take care of his mama and his sister. But of course, if you in the streets, you're gonna develop that
right,
hard shell and the mannerisms of people that's in the streets. So he became that dude. And like he said, he could shoot the nuts off a mosquito. So he was that dude.
right.
And his sister and his mama called him cynical because he was just evil, even though he did try to change,
Mm-hmm.
in his book. It was like, but when he felt threatened,
Right.
All that came back. Even though he shouldn't have felt threatened, he did feel threatened. So,
Man, and what was a good a funny scene for you to write and
it wasn't in
in
Jericho's
Jericho?
book.
Yeah.
There weren't a lot of funny scenes in Jericho book for me. I'm trying to think. I think it's probably the scene that you mentioned earlier. I got a
Yeah.
kick out of that scene. Like
Yes.
he picked him up and threw him.
The way you
So
described it, I'm like, oh my, I could just visualize it. And I would have been like, if I was Whitney, I would have been like, is he for real right now? Because he was talking to her like they were just discussing dinner or something. And
right, right. And then he went back. He just went to a dude still on the ground, and you didn't switch subjects like he not even there.
yes, that
Yeah.
that was
And
hilarious.
Whitney was mad at him, and he had to go. He had to assert that power and tell her, "Well, I don't care how mad you are, you gonna
I'm
still let me
still
be that man." I was like,
yes.
"Oh my god!"
Yes.
He said, "Don't
I'm
tell
still
her."
him.
Yeah.
Jericho say I'm still him. I know you done seen how I handle people. I'm still him.
You, I think I'm trying because after each book I had like my favorites keep changing. Who was your favorites out of the series, Jennifer?
Um, Ali, Jericho, and Jungle,
And
and
who?
Jungle.
Jungle.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Rondo about to be there too. I love them all, but them last four.
Ooh, them
Yeah,
last four took
yeah.
me.
The last
Yeah.
one was something else.
Those last four took me through hell and back. Okay.
Are we gonna get an update, Monica? I meant to message you and ask you that if I had wrote you.
I told y'all I wasn't like said I wasn't supposed to go back to the Hendersons and look where I'm at.
So
Deep in
it's
the throes of the Hendersons. So most likely y'all gonna get a little update.
yeah. You should do a Christmas book or something. That would be for everybody.
No, it won't be a Christmas book.
I know it's coming up
because
too
I
fast
because
anyway.
I would like to see oh cynical Seneca.
Seneca. Yeah, Seneca.
And
Yeah.
his fiance get it together and go on and just
Yeah.
get it
Well, you'll
together.
see a little of that in Rondo's books. So
So
Oh,
once you finish, you'll see, them trying to make things work.
okay, good.
So,
Because I haven't gotten his book yet.
yeah. Rondo is like, because he's the finale, so I had to wrap up everybody's issues for the most part. Um, so you'll see it in Rondo's book.
Good, good. And I just have to tell you that you did an awesome job as usual with the series.
Thank
How
you.
you keep
Thank
it all
you.
straight, I have no idea.
You know, it is definitely a gift because I don't even know. I can remember those characters like the back of my head, but ask me something about real life that happened last week. I don't remember.
And that's why I asked you because I read paranormal too, and I've read it's one series as a long series, and the main character after like maybe the eighth book, his eye color changed, and of course, we as readers
Oh, y'all noticed
we
that.
noticed it. Like what's
Hmm.
going on? But I can imagine how hard it'd be trying to
But
keep
I don't really talk about sub characters' looks.
right, right.
So the only person looks you really get in a particular book are the main characters,
Okay.
unless they Talisha and they just ugly.
yeah, because you described I
And the way
I
you kept, I'm like, oh my goodness, I cringed every time he said something about her looks and her and the month. I'm like, my
after he
gosh.
But you know
even
what? You
after
know
he
what?
did the makeover for her, he was like,
But you know what? I don't think it would have been as bad if she wouldn't have thought she was all that. So that made it worse because they like she just thinks she, all this.
Right, right. Antoinette is saying we do need a holiday gathering, bro. And I think so too. Monica, you should think about it because I think that would be a perfect opportunity for all of them to be together and
And we can see them stroll, and we can hear
I I if I do another book, it won't be a holiday book. I really don't like doing holiday books
really
because it's like they really don't get read but around the holidays.
true.
Unless I connect it to the series like I did the Hendersons. I made it part of the series. So
Right.
if you want to know the whole story, you have to read it
You
even if
go.
it's in July.
well, I'm one of the few people that read holiday stuff all year round.
All
Yeah, I do.
year.
I
But
love
like, and
it.
then my holiday books, it tend to be more about the issues, and it just happened to be Christmas time.
Oh, so it's not Christmas is not really a part of the
I mean, I may
the
say something about a Christmas tree or some lights or whatever, but it's not really the storyline. It just happened to be Christmas
right,
time.
right.
Yeah.
LaShawn is asking how long does it take you to write a book because you be popping them out.
Depending on how it flow, I can, if I have no interruptions or whatever, I can usually write one in 2 weeks.
Good, that's great. But I believe it, yeah, because you be putting them
Hmm.
out, but like I said, the quality is still top notch. So
Thank you. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm disciplined. So I plan out, what I'm going to write, how much I'm going to write each day. I have like this wall calendar thing, my erase board. Now you can see 5K all the way across the weekdays, 5K, 5K, 5,000 words, 5,000 words, so basically I can do a book in 2 weeks, especially if it's in a series. So
mm-hmm.
like with the B Ride series, by the time I got to, you know, Rondo's book, it was extremely easy to write because I know everybody.
Because you know the characters, yeah.
I'm not having to really develop anybody. They're already developed throughout the series.
Right.
So it makes it easier when I get to their book because they've already played a part in somebody else's book.
But see, that seemed like it would be harder though, because when I was reading your author note, I think it was an author's note, when you were talking about the updates and how you intentionally may leave a part off because you know it's coming up in another. It seemed like
Mhm.
that would be extremely hard to keep all of that straight
To
and
keep it, well, like with stuff that's unresolved, I'll make a note of it. So
okay.
like so like in book one, I with the issues that were going on because I mentioned Isaiah's issue, I mentioned Alex, Dylan. I don't think Chad had really anything going on in book one that
Right.
you knew of, but I was like, okay, Alex's issue is more pressing, so let me make a note of what Dylan going through. I'm gonna make a note of what Isaiah going through. That way we could get back to it. So then I went to Alex's book. Her issue was more pressing, and then we
Yes.
get we get more of Dylan's story in Alex's book. So then when I get to Dylan, okay, now we gotta see what's going on with Chad because Shy and Chad, so it's kind of
Right.
like a weaving a basket,
Right.
it's kind of, you have these
That's a good
issues.
analogy because that's how it seems too. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, and Katina is saying she reads the holiday books all year round too. So everybody's trying to get you to do this Christmas book.
That's what they're doing.
But
I mean, I could do an update. It just won't be a holiday. What you say? How is your dad doing? Oh, he's doing okay. I just saw him today. He's going through physical therapy. He's having some minor issues, but he's home. So
that's good.
thank you for asking.
That's
And
good.
Monica, I just want to thank you for updating us with fun and sexy law
Yes.
and jungle.
So in Jungle's book, Jungle is the only character in the Berotte Family series that is an existing character. Um, I wrote him in his sister's book back in 2019.
What book?
Savage Heart was the name of the book.
Okay.
It was his sister's book, and in the whole book, Jungle was in jail
Okay.
basically until the end. So that's where you get his family dynamics and what was going on at the time. Because you
Okay.
get it in the series where he's talking about how his dad and his brother got killed or whatever. But of course, it happened in Savage Heart.
Okay.
So you get it blow by blow in Savage Heart.
Okay, I'm
but
gonna have to go
through
back
but
and
through
read.
his sister Fawn, the one that was just off the chain in
Right,
his book.
right.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got to go back and read that then. And Sharon says she has. She said you do a great job, and she's read all 89. And you started reading her
Thank you,
recently too, Sharon.
Sharon.
So you've been
Yeah,
reading.
she did. She started reading, and I think that's her that comments on somebody's post. And every time she comments, she has read at least one or
It
two
was
books
probably
of
my
mine.
post because I know in my group she had put in there too that it
It's
was a.
another author, I think,
Oh,
Campbell,
okay.
J.D. Campbell,
J.L. Campbell.
J.L. Campbell. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Thank you, Sharon.
when I think when we did the, now it might not even been that long ago. I was about to say when we did the chat, but I think she started reading a little after that. But so
Yeah.
Yes,
and
I
then
still got to read the rest of the Sweet series, but everything else Monica done wrote, I done read.
Listen, okay, the Sweet series were my first books. Period. My first, and you want a toxic family? That's one.
uh
That-
oh.
yes,
Kim Coleman Douglas is saying Savage Heart is an amazing read too. Yeah, I'm gonna go
Thank
back
you,
and read.
Kim.
I'm
Hey,
gonna go back and
Kim.
read
Hey, girl. Okay, let me warn you.
that.
Let me
Okay.
warn you, Cheryl. Savage Heart is an urban erotica.
Okay.
There is some romance, of course, because I mean that's just me. It's gonna
Okay,
have
but
some
it's not.
romantic moments, but there is a lot of pew pew pew, and there is a lot of sex.
I don't mind that because I know you're gonna give me a good story on top of it. So
Thank you so
yeah,
much.
yeah. My
Yeah.
my main thing be the more the trauma type stuff that I'm like,
Well, and there is some trauma.
there is some trauma. Okay, you warned me, so okay.
There is some trauma. I mean, the book starts with her going to her dad and her brother's funeral.
Okay, okay,
That's where the book starts. And, they have a dynasty, as Jungle talked about, the Patterson family, whatever. She had to be the sole person to take it over,
okay.
even though she didn't want to be.
Because
So
Joe was in prison.
Jungle was in prison, the
Okay.
daddy and the brother. And that's where they had a lot in common with the B Rods too, because her mother also died
Mhm.
in child labor, when she had her.
Okay, so
So
she's all right, like Alice. Okay.
just like Alex. So that's where Jungle was able to bond with the B Rots on so much, especially with missing their mom. Because
Right,
Jungle obviously is older and he remembers his mom.
right.
So he's kind of like not as affected as Shy was in his book with his mom, but still missing his mom, and missing that part of his life. So
Okay.
um, that's why he was able to blend with the B Rot so easily because of the commonality.
Right.
Yeah.
And it seemed like that's kind of key with all of them, really, of the
Right.
extended family, circuit family.
Hmm.
But and Kim is saying, oh, that she was late.
Uh, oh, that's okay, Kim. Me too.
And Sharon said it was of last year that she started.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Started with June Cofield. I don't know who that is.
Hmm.
But I just we the time has just flown. I could talk about this family, and we didn't even touch the scratch the surface. But I
Right.
encourage everybody to that hasn't read it to go and start with book one, Sheldon and Anissa's story, and just go in order because you believe me, you will fall in love with this
Yeah.
family and their friends.
Yeah. A lot of people try to jump around. Do not jump around. You won't get the full effect of the story of, how it flows if you
Right.
jump around. You may be lost on a couple of things if you jump around. So it's imperative that you read in order.
Because they are all connected, and
Hmm.
you'll miss something if you jump around like that.
Yeah.
Another one of her series that well, I haven't read the entire series. We were just talking about this off camera, but I started with the last with
The
uh
Hendersons.
yeah, the Hendersons. I started with I don't know if it's not the last two books anymore, is it? But
No.
um I
I
started
think
with
it was
those.
book 11 and 12 or 10
Right.
and 11, something like that. We're up to 17 books in the Hendersons now. Book 17 comes out Friday.
I'm gonna have to go back because it is hard for me because I'm reading all the time for the show and stuff. So, but I'm gonna have to go back and
Yes,
read those.
yes. But like the Hendersons has like two or three novellas, so they are short reads in there too. So
Right, and I do remember reading one of the novellas that came after. Uh,
WJ's book when he
right,
got married
yeah,
probably put that on everything. Yeah.
yeah. So I read that. But I loved. I told you during that chat that I love that character, and I love the her and her brother, with one of the brothers, relationship
Yeah.
in that book.
Yeah, because that's another big family.
Yes, and I loved
It's
it. I have to
eight
go ahead
siblings.
and go back and read the rest of the earlier books
Yeah. Yeah, it's
because they
eight
scared me off.
siblings.
They're like, you don't like a lot of trauma, and there's some trauma,
That
traumatic.
those two books were the most traumatic.
The ones that
Book
I read, okay,
Yeah, book one was not traumatic at all. Storm
okay,
was just being Storm.
and I love.
You
He
know.
was he
Now,
was,
book four was traumatic.
and I think that's probably the one, yeah, because we talked
Book
about it a little bit.
four,
Um,
Kenny's book.
Mm-hmm. Kenny.
Yeah, Jennifer knows, and
Yeah.
that one part of that book still bothers me, and you will see in Friday's release, Jen, if you read it, it comes up again. So it's like, oh my
Oh
god,
well, let me
and
have my tissues. Let me have my tissues
yeah,
on deck,
that's
dear.
that's the part. That's the only part of the book when I was writing. I cried on that part because that part just still just bothers me, just like it bothers y'all. So
oh
yeah,
no, okay.
even though it's something that happened years ago, it still makes me cry.
Pops up, yeah. But you did an excellent job with that too. I was like, and then even with her
Thank you.
situation with her abusive husband, and I'm like, uh,
Yeah,
that was that was difficult to read, but it was a
yeah,
great,
and it is so true for a lot of women though.
true,
They hide it, and live through it and don't even realize that you don't have to, sis.
right.
There
And
is
she
help
definitely,
out
I wanted
there.
her to like come
And
on,
she definitely didn't have to with all the family support she had.
right.
So, yeah.
Lashana saying she loved the whole series. Now I'm going back to start with the first series. Thank you for the list.
Thank you. Bless your heart if you start with the Sweet series. That's all I have to say. That was in my raw days.
And then Sharon is saying the Hendersons, motives and betrayal series.
Ooh, the Motives and Betrayal series. That was in my early days too. They raw too.
I'm gonna have to
The
go back
motives and
and catch up on
which
that.
they a lot of my series intertwine. So like the Motives and Betrayal series, the Sweet series, and the Written Between the Pages series, they all intertwine. But
Okay.
the Sweet series was the first, and then there were like characters that appeared in the Sweet series that got their own series. So it was like a spin-off series.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why they intertwine. But yeah, they
You've
now
been
the
putting them
written
out though.
they rough.
I'm gonna have to first I'm gonna
Listen,
up the
people
book.
like, what are your hobbies? I'm like, my hobby and my passion is writing.
Yeah.
So it's like if I'm not writing, I'm listening to music or I'm asleep
Mm.
or spending time with my family,
Right,
honestly.
right.
But everything else that I do involves books. So I
Well,
have
I'm
nothing
here
else to
for
do.
it. We all here for it. And one of the questions before we wrap up, one of the questions I always ask is what keeps you motivated in your writing and in life?
Um, I always say that I'm a mentally strong person, and I am. Of course, there's moments that kind of deflate you a little bit, but I'm a very spiritual person, so I always look at, what, God, whatever you have for me is for me. I know I just have to put the work in to get it, so that's what motivates me, just to see where He's gonna take me, if I keep going. Of course, He ain't gonna take me nowhere if I'm not putting in the work, because faith
True.
without works is dead. So it's like, okay, if I keep working, I know you're gonna keep lifting me higher and higher. And I have a supportive husband, and supportive children, that rock with me all the time. I mean, they don't read the books, obviously,
Right.
but they support me in other ways. They give me my space to be creative, which my girls are here with me now. So they go where I go,
Right.
and they support me, and they are my biggest motivators as well, and they inspire me to do great things because they always looking and waiting to say congratulations or mama, you famous, I can google you, that kind of stuff. And
Aw.
it motivates me and inspires me because I want to be an example for them,
Right.
to show them that anything you put your mind to, you could do it if you want it bad enough. So, yeah, that's my inspiration and motivation.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Jennifer,
Yeah,
did you have any final question or comment before we sign off?
Monica knows how much I love her.
I do, and I love you back.
From the very beginning, I was like, should I reach out to her? Because when I discovered her books, we was in the pandemic. I had got the trial subscription to Kindle Unlimited, and when I hopped onto the books, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna say, let me see if she has a Facebook page. And when I reached out to her, I was like, I could just feel her spirit. I was like, yes, Monica is so nice. And it just,
Oh,
I mean,
you
she's
know,
one of the
love
authors
you
I'll
too,
just
Britt.
one click any day.
But I tell people a lot of times, that sometimes your personality will get you where your skill can't.
Mm,
And I've always been confident and felt like I was a good writer. But sometimes you reach people just by how you interact with them
right.
before they even pick up a book. So if they interact with you and you nasty, and mean and ugly to them, then guess what? They're not gonna read. you
Right.
know,
And
and
they'll
it,
spread the word that
and they'll spread the word how nasty and
right.
mean and evil you were. So, but I mean, I'm naturally a friendly person until I'm provoked not to be. But for the most part, I'm a friendly person, and I feel like if you are kind to people, they will reciprocate.
Right.
And just by me being kind, it makes people want to read my stuff. Even if they haven't ever read a Monica Walters book and they come in contact, well, she was nice. Let me see what she writing about.
Hmm.
So yeah,
I agree with that. And Jennifer, she she's the reason that we ended up doing your two books for the chat that month.
right.
So
Yes, I remember.
hmm yeah.
My
So
Jen. Did Jennifer
Look,
tell you I used her name in a book
now which book was it?
until I met you?
I
uh,
mean,
yep, and it was good too. I was
That one has an audio book too.
okay.
Yeah.
like, I
Yes,
must have.
I'm gonna check it out just so I can see what Jennifer up to in that book.
Jen- Jennifer was nasty. She was nasty.
Oh my goodness. Kim is saying you're one of the most down to earth people in real life. Beautiful inside and out.
Thank you. Yeah, so Kim has stayed at my house before.
Okay. Yeah, I think I saw her post when y'all were when she
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
out.
so yeah, she came all the way out here to go to a small book event I was doing. She drove 8 hours
Oh my goodness, that is
just to
definitely
come
a
to, and I was
plan.
like, you know what? Don't you spend no money in no hotel. You can stay at my house, and so
That
we
is
had a
so
good
I love
time.
that. I love
And
it.
she got to go to Port 09, the B Ride Hangout.
Okay.
So
Sharon
we had a
says
good
she can't
time.
wait to meet you in person.
Oh, I can't
Same
wait to
here.
meet
Yes.
you. I enjoy meeting readers and meeting y'all, and just social media. You end up becoming friends.
Right. So it's like when you
So
meet them in person, you're already, you're already
hmm I feel
familiar
like
with
I
them.
already know them. Yeah.
Right. And I plan on doing more. I haven't been able to do them in a couple of years because of my health, but I plan on doing more
Yeah.
book events next year. So hopefully I'll see you somewhere
Okay.
along
Somewhere.
the
Yeah.
line.
I know y'all will probably be. Have y'all seen Aisha Breeze event? Southern. What is it? Southern Hearts something kisses. I can't remember. Sorry, Aisha, but it's gonna be next year in South Carolina. So
Okay. You doing that
I
one?
I'm doing that one. There's gonna be a lot of book, but I mean, it's been a lot of buzz around it. So, and it's over a year away. So,
Okay.
but
Well,
yeah, I'm
I
doing
am
that one.
also planning one, the Book Buzz Show and I Inspire Books. We are,
Ah,
but it's going to be another name. No, we're trying to come up with that. But
okay.
and Jennifer is actually helping me with that. She's on the committee.
Oh, awesome,
So I definitely
awesome.
will reach out to you once we get everything. And it's not going to
Okay,
be to 2025 though.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
reach out because I'm trying to put on a rodeo for 2025 for y'all. So,
Okay.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't
I
do
think
that.
that that'll be different and fun, for us
Do you
to
know
be
the
able to
month
go
yet?
to. No, I don't know. I'm trying to do it
Okay.
in the summer, but I just don't know.
Okay.
I don't want it to be early in the summer because it get hot out here, y'all, and I don't want y'all to be miserable because rodeos are outside. So yeah.
All right, so I'll make sure to keep that open for 2025 for me. One of my travel places.
Yes, yes.
She said it was 10 hours, but worth every mile.
See, she drove a long way. She drove a long way. I felt so loved that day. I was like, why are you driving 10 hours just to come hang with me?
I loved
So
it.
sweet.
Yeah, I love that. But yeah, I'll keep you posted once we get everything settled. And
Okay.
we actually have the month though. It's not
Okay,
so.
well, let me know. Yeah, let me
Yeah, so I'll
know.
let you know. Um, but
My
yes,
real life sister is on too, Brittany. I
oh, really?
used
Okay.
her. She
Mine
was
is too,
Chiron.
Lisa.
Look, she was Chiron's wife in the Berotte Family series,
Oh,
Brittany.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
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 All right, I love it. And thank you for coming on the show. I always love talking to you. I remember when we had that chat, we were on the chat for at least 3 hours. Um,
Girl, yeah. I could go on. Look, I could go when it comes to books.
yeah, yep. So we got to do this again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
You just let me
thank.
know.
All right, I will. Thank you, Jennifer, for co-hosting tonight.
Thanks,
You're
Jen
welcome.
Jen.
You're welcome. You know, when she said it was gonna be Monica, she reached out to me. I said, "Of course, of
Yep, I had to do that because you were the one. Well, I told you before, I read one of your books before Jennifer had told me, but then
Right.
the one with the musician, the guitar.
Oh, baby, that's one of my favorites.
course."
Yeah,
Oh, Enzo. Ooh,
Enzo,
yes.
when's the last time? Yeah, he
yeah.
nasty,
And that was
nasty.
my first. But then Jennifer had told me about all the rest of the books, and that's when we did the Anderson
Yeah.
last two at that time.
I really appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And I'll be in touch. And thank you, everybody in
Okay.
the audience, for coming out.
Thank y'all for joining us.
Yes, very engaged audience. So thank you.
Yes, thank y'all.
All right, everybody, have a good evening, and I'll see
You
you next.
too. Okay, bye.